Auto sequence start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, hello there. Welcome, my fellow intellectual giants, to another installment of Canned Conversation. My name is Andrew, and with me, as always, my good friend Steven.
Well, hello.
Hello, my friend. Tell me, how did you fare in your America's Got Talent audition? 4 yeses, I presume.
I don't have enough talent to be on that show, but I would have guessed if I would be on it, they would give me 4 yeses and probably a golden buzzer.
Golden buzzer for sure. You would get many applause, and they would send you straight through to the live round.
Agree. I just need a story. I need a backstory that sells it.
You could pick things out, a couple of key facts out, and they would highlight you with a 3-minute intro.
Oh, yeah. Just pluck the heartstrings of
Yes.
America, and they'd be like, you're in.
You are in.
Golden buzzer.
We're going to push you to the front, my
Your
friend.
talent is mediocre, but your story is golden buzzer worthy.
If you had to pick a talent that you would do on America's Got Talent, would you choose playing guitar and singing? Or
Yeah. If I could do anything really, really great, it would be that. I would be a great songwriter, guitar player, singer. If I could do those three things, that I would be in. And go to Nashville and just play bars or something until somebody discovered me or America's Got Talent gave me the golden buzzer.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I would come up after you doing hip-hop dance.
Agree.
That is totally my jam.
Yep. 100%.
Can't wait to get involved in that show. As the name of this show suggests, one of us brings a new, unique, or rare canned beverage to try, and as we tickle our tonsils with its contents, we'll do our very best to delight you with all of our wittiest banter. Later in the show, we'll review and rate the canned beverage and let you know if you should try it while hosting your next Tupperware party.
Ooh, Tupperware.
Yeah,
They still have Tupperware parties?
Well, if they don't, they should.
Agree.
Tupperware
doesn't sponsor us either.
They should.
Agree.
It is the unsung hero of the kitchen, or at least that's the way I feel.
It's the best kind of ware is Tupperware.
Well, we need a can, my friend. So let's do this.
You know, a lot of people go to college for 7 years.
I know. They're called doctors.
It's a jam.
This will get us in the college spirit. All right, my friend, what did you bring for us?
Well, if we're talking about college, let's shotgun this. No, I'm just kidding. So this is from a Logboat Brewing company. It's called Bobber. I feel like it's a fairly common. I've seen this around a lot. It's been on tap at a lot of bars. I believe it to be actually a mid-Missouri beer brewed. It's 5% by alcohol. It's a Missouri lager. So I like it because, for one, I like to fish. If you've listened to any of our previous episodes, you've heard both one of my places that I'm high maintenance and one of my adventures lately has been fishing. So I thought Bobber was a good kind of throwback. So, so it's Logboat Brewing Company.
Yeah, 5% alcohol volume. Did you mention that?
I did.
Okay. I was reading what was under that. Bobber is an unfiltered all malt lager with noble hops that provides floral notes and lager yeast that delivers that clean finish.
It says clearly on the label, it's light, floral, and crisp, which I love all three of those. How do you not like that?
It says best of luck with the catfishing.
Yep.
Which means I think if you portray yourself as somebody different on the social networks, catfishing.
That's what they're talking about. So it's posting a picture that looks really attractive and yet you are ugly as
100%
sin.
not.
Yep. That's it. Catfishing.
So as we've said on the shows previous, we don't let each other know what we're bringing.
Nope.
By that measure, I am wondering if we've had Logboat Brewing. I didn't have a chance to obviously look this up because I didn't know what you're bringing, but this name seems familiar. I don't want to call you out or anything, but did you happen to notice whether we've had Logboat before? It just seems familiar.
I don't think so. We've for sure not had bobber.
Sure. Yeah, I know we
Yeah,
haven't had this.
phew.
But I just, that for whatever reason, that name Logboat Brewing.
They may have put out something else that we tried that was a weird one. This I feel like is their normal beer.
Okay.
This is bobber. That's their lager. It's their normal. I think we maybe if we have had one before, it's early, and
Yeah.
I think it was probably a not normal lagery type beer. So I
Sure.
feel like this is something that people can go pick up, and it's a normal lagery.
Yeah,
type
definitely.
Beer, if you like lager beers.
And honestly, we're getting up towards 60 things that we've tried. So
I forget what
keeping
we've
track
done.
of all of the different.
I can look it up on our Facebook page. We have a pinned
Yeah.
post there that tells us what all the beers are. So if
We
anybody's
keep
ever
it
wondering-
updated with all of the various cans that we try, along with our ratings and links to pictures if you want to see the cool can, because we describe it here, but it's all audio based and not visual. So a lot of people love the visual of it. If you go to our little PDF sheet that we keep, we have links to the pictures, and then you can go to their websites as well. So it says keep your paddle wet. So let's wet our whistles on this.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, 'tis the season for graduation and high school's getting done and applying for colleges. Why do I bring this up?
Why?
You and I both have daughters.
We do.
That just graduated high school.
Yep.
And they're planning for their after high school life, which could go several different routes. And that is what I wanted to talk about today, because after high school is a big deal. Not only it was for us, right? I mean, everybody's life. Once you get out of high school, it's that transition from being sort of a kid with not as much responsibility into you're going to have to forge your own life after this.
Yep.
Plan your future. What does that future look like?
Yeah, and that's a daunting thing when you're in high school of going, what's next? I know. So I've had a nephew that recently graduated. Last weekend we went to that graduation, which was great. 2 weekends ago, I'm sorry, a couple weekends ago, whatever it was. But he's like, hey, he said something that was to me profound, because I think I felt the same way as he goes, this was mandatory. I didn't do anything special. I just did what,
Right.
for one, the law and my parents, who one of them's a principal, the other's a teacher. They've both been teachers like their whole lives. He's like, I just did what people told me to do.
Right.
Like he was almost like Forrest Gumped it, right? Like, I'm just here because somebody said be here.
It was not allowed for me to fail
Right.
at the task of graduating.
That was not even an option for him, right? Like, and
Right.
I agree that's really for your kids. You're like, that's not an option. You're not going to fail high school. But I thought it was profound that he was like, I didn't do anything. And I go, my butt, you survived
Right.
all of this learning experience to get to this point. This is the point in which mandatory learning becomes at the end of the road for you.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from here on out is optional learning on what you choose to do. So this is the end of your parents' guidance for you and the beginning of your kind of independent learning of what you want to be. And I think that's a cool transition. So when people say, congratulations, you graduated, don't tell them, I didn't really do anything. I just did what my parents
Right.
told me to do. This is the end of that. Just at least celebrate that you're no longer your parents are going to guide you through every step of your life. This is you getting to be independent. This is you at the end of a 13 year career of going to school and getting to make your own choices. That's cool.
Now, to be fair to Deke Nasty,
Yeah.
Right.
Get nasty.
we do not have a 100% graduation rate
We don't.
in our high schools.
And there may be some privilege talking. I get that. That there's our situations are different than other people's, and the people don't graduate from high school. And I think that's a tragedy, and you should.
Right.
And they should find ways for people to get there. I think that's important.
Yeah. So given that it's not a 100%
Right.
graduation rate, therein there lies, or therein lies,
Right.
therein lies
Yeah.
some achievement.
I agree.
Now, again, with the support of not only what they did personally, but with the support of their family. And that is very key, I think. So if you do have a support structure around you and you can push past middle school, which we've talked about is probably the worst time or the most tumultuous time. Worst is probably not the right word, but tumultuous time of your life when everything is that you're learning is a lot of social stuff and a lot of that. Then you go through the high school period. So when you cross that line and you're sort of that official adult that you're 18, you can vote.
Yep.
You can go to the Army.
You have freedoms.
Yes.
You have choices.
And you then are tasked with figuring out how you're going to proceed with your life. Like you said, optional learning. So I wanted to talk a little bit about college, because college becomes then a big factor.
Right, because every parent goes, I want my kid to go to college. Right answer, wrong answer, or not.
Right.
That's how my parents were. That's how I'm sure your parents were. Like, you're going to go to college. You graduate high school, that's what you do. You go to college.
So my parents actually didn't really take that stance.
You're horrible. You have horrible parents.
No, I think they were
kidding.
just very tired.
I'm just kidding.
At the
You
end
don't
of
have horrible parents.
my education,
You wore
through
them
high
out?
school. Even though really my high school was a lot less hands-on for them. I've talked in previous episodes
Yep.
of how my education went, and it wasn't a very slick road. It had a lot of rocky moments
Right.
that
You weren't
they had
the
to help me
easiest
with.
child in
Yes.
the world to deal with.
So once they got me to that level, they were like, honestly, we will support you in your decision making. So if you go to college and
Just
it's
go do something else outside of our house is what they really wanted.
Well, actually, what they said was, you can be here in our house if you go to a local college and you get free room and board. We're not going to charge you rent.
But super sweet.
Yeah, and as long as you are, going to school and in a pursuit of that learning to where you're going to set yourself up for a career, later on, then we'll support you 100%. And I was all on board, and I had actually applied to a local college and taken some entrance exams. And it was probably about a month and a half before school started, and I did a complete change of pace. And I said, I do not want to go to a local college and live with you anymore. I love you guys dearly, but
I got to get out.
my road is going to be independence.
Yes.
So that was me personally. I went to college, honestly, to get out of my house.
Yeah. And to me, that's like 80% of college is going, you need to go live as a young adult without your parents. And right, wrong, or indifferent, like
Right.
that's part of what college is just being independent. Go figure out, when we say clean your room and you're like, I don't want to, go figure out what it looks like when you don't clean your room.
Right.
But like, do you like living like that? Like a weird homeless hoarder? No. Like you got to go figure out your own standards, your own timing, you have to be on your own schedule. You have to do things on your own. That's when you become an adult. Like I feel like that's part of college that you should have to go learn. That's part of the experience is get out of the house and get away from your mom and dad don't go home every weekend. Just stay there and have to live on your own. That's good.
So that's important to you.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Because there are a lot of kids that go locally, go to community colleges and still live with their parents.
I'm not dogging on them. I'm just saying that saves money, but that does not get you the same experience of independence.
Okay. So I kind of talked, I briefly hit on why I went away to college. At the very last minute, I was like, and I think it had been festering in my head, right? Like going, do I really have to continue living here? Not because I don't like them. I really loved my parents, but I think living under their roof, their rules was so long in the making that I'm just an independent personality, and I was from a pretty young age, which is what caused the tumultuous education pre-college, that I was like, I'm ready to get out of here at almost any cost, meaning that they were like, well, if you go away to college, you're going to have to fund that college, which I ultimately started taking loans for. Yep. And they were helping in the beginning, meaning they said, well, whatever we would have paid for that local college, as long as you're making C's or better, basically better than a 2.0 because we don't want you to fail out, we'll kind of help you in that regard, which was great. But that was in the back of my head. That was a long...
Right. Way back.
Way in the back of my head.
Way back there. Yeah.
And so I just really was like, I need to get out of Dodge. And so I applied and got accepted to a state school that was a couple hours away and lived in the dorms, and was like, this is me getting out of my house. Is that the same for you? Because you said your parents wanted you
no, it wasn't
to go to college.
No. So I was an average student in high school. and average meaning C, like a not. Like, I think that's probably below average now. I don't know.
So what people think of as below average, but seriously, C is supposed to be average.
Literally, I think I'm a C student. And so I was like, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. It took me forever to pass an ACT.
Pass it.
And by pass, I mean like
they don't fail you on those.
No, but get above an 18 to get into college.
Okay.
You have to have an 18 to get into college.
Certain colleges.
Most. Let's go with most.
Sure. I mean, every college seems to be different in what they expect.
I hung around with my friends. I got one kid who, like one of my buddies, Zach, who's like, I got a 34. I'm like, well, that's for one, that's bright flight. You can only get a 36, right? Like there's only like 1.1% of Missouri gets anything above a 32. And this jackhole over here is getting a 34 or whatever he got. I don't know. It's ridiculous. I got Krista's one of my other friends. She's like, I got a 30. I'm like, I got a 17. I got to take this thing again.
I would have been that guy that was like, whoa, you got a 34? Obviously, you're going to take that again. You didn't get perfect.
How do you get 36, doofus? I'm trying to get to a 20. Anyway, so I struggled in school. I've always struggled in school. Not my thing. That's okay. But I had a college approach me and said, we'd offer you a tennis scholarship if you want to come here. And it was minimal, but it was it's a little private Methodist school. And my mom's like, hey, if you got a scholarship,
right?
Sure, it costs more than every state school we have, but they gave you
they're going to pay for it.
A miniature scholarship. You should go there. So I went there. But from my dad's perspective, going to college was not an option. You're going to college. You're going to go to a 4-year school. He went to a 4-year school. He went to a pretty well-known engineering school, and he's got a really he did great because he got an engineering degree in something he was very passionate about. And so that was his track in life. And he's like, everybody should have these things. And I'm like, I don't really have that. I don't really know what I want to be. And so they paid me to play tennis for a semester, and I bombed out of that. They paid me for a year. I bombed out of that year, and so we had very different experiences. But I went there specifically for a tennis scholarship. But
you went away. You stayed there.
I did. I stayed there.
And
it was great.
And that was a bonus for you. You're like, yes, I want to get out of my house.
It was a good experience for me, even though it was a horrible experience for my parents who had to pay for that. Whatever the
partially,
sure. But partially is more than what they would pay for a normal school.
Okay,
I mean, so it was a good experience for me just to get out of the house and live on my own and meet people and from different backgrounds. I mean, come from a small town, so that was good.
So what we're going to do, so I want you to hold on to some of your personal stories because we're going to come back a little bit later after we rate the can, and we're going to talk about some of our fun college personal stories or those things in college that probably we didn't ever see coming, but then they happened. But I want to kind of start out with, we, like I said, have both daughters that are going into college.
Yep.
So when your daughter came to you and said, I assume, hey, I'm looking at colleges, or did she? Was it college was just the natural progression? Was there a choice there? Did she ask you?
Yeah, we've done low maintenance and high maintenance before in a previous episode, the one before this, I think probably even. My daughter is very low maintenance, and that she came to me and goes, I'm going to go to college. I've applied to 24 colleges.
24.
Oh, it was tons. And it was more after that. And she's like, here's what I'm kind of interested in doing. And I want to go do some college visits. But she applied to like Montana and Southern Florida and
everywhere.
Literally covered the globe of colleges and applied to everywhere. And the great thing about COVID is that no one cares about tests anymore. So she got into seriously like 30 plus colleges that she applied to.
Wow.
It was great. But so she said, I'm going to college for this stuff. Here's what I think I want to be. Here's what I want to go into. And it's, this kind of thing, communication or photojournalism and that kind of stuff. And so we made spreadsheets. We did all the stuff.
Nice.
But she did a lot of that for us, which was great because I didn't do that as a kid. Okay. My first daughter wasn't passionate like that as a kid. And it was like, here's all the stuff I want to do. And here's the places I want to go. And my youngest, she was in it. She was 100% in. And I'm like, great, run with it. Do all that. Do all the stuff that I hate, that I don't want to do. And she did. So How about you? How about your kid?
College was a natural progression. She didn't talk really about any other option. I threw out there, hey, just kind of curious what your thoughts are on after high school life. Some people do different things.
Yeah.
And there was no hesitation, really. I think we've told her enough times that we don't plan on supporting you for the rest of your life. And unfortunately, we're not Richie Rich. And I know we've talked about inheritance in a couple episodes prior.
We're not leaving her nothing. So
right,
she's
so
not getting zipped.
You are going to, unfortunately for you, have to work in your life. And that working is going to mean a salary and getting paid. And I've had numerous discussions with both my kids about the benefit of being in high demand, but not having a lower supply. And so meaning that there's a low supply of engineering degree people, as opposed to people that can work at a gas station or McDonald's. Nothing wrong with working there. I have no problem with those anywhere. Like if you work at a grocery store, that's great. We need those people.
You can demand more money when the skill that you possess is in low supply.
Yes.
So
that's what I talk to her about all the time is, how do you increase your value? Your value is increased by you having skills that other people don't.
Right. And your oldest has passion anyway. She's a passionate person. I had no doubt she was going to be passionate about something. Right.
Right. And she loves a decent way of living, basically.
So she's not going to be a good poor person.
She would like to afford some of the nicer things in life is all I'll say. I mean, like no judgment again against, for people that work at some of the more, what I would say blue collar jobs.
She wants good vacation. She wants time off. She wants all that stuff that you have to have a decent income to have.
Yes.
And she's willing to work for. I feel like she's passionate about stuff that she's willing to work for.
Definitely had a very keen interest in saying, I'm going to make myself that person that has some skills, that has
some money, that can go do some fun stuff.
I can demand a higher salary or a salary that would make my life that I want happen.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So there wasn't a lot of other options going on there. But now one of the things I wanted to talk about, because, we talk about college, the cost of college, it is so across the board, right?
I know what that means.
It's just here. Let me then throw these out at you. What a great segue that you didn't even know you did.
Awesome.
So here's the fun part of what I'm going to do, because I think we all know and can
There's
just
a quiz
say
coming in there.
We can all just say college costs a lot of money,
it's
and
expensive.
it's been costing a lot of money, right? Like, so the question is, number one, why does college cost so much? But let's just start with the cost of college. Okay. So what do you think the average cost of a credit hour, and if you don't want to do per credit hour, if you want to do like a year,
whatever you do a year,
whatever you feel most comfortable
math is
with.
hard.
Yeah. All right. So I got all of that.
Okay. Good.
So
I had no doubt.
So let's do per year.
Okay.
What's the average cost per year of a 4-year private non-for-profit? Non-profit college. So like a private college. I shouldn't say non-profit. Let's go profit, because I think they're all.
College
you're private. You're profit driven.
Okay.
But a private. Let's start with the private schools. Per year average, plus or minus, let's say $5,000.
42,000.
Ooh, you were plus or minus almost on the money. $38,000.
Oh, that's not bad. I'm pretty close.
Now, again, keeping in mind, this is only the cost of the actual education itself. Does not include
room and board,
fees, books, room and board,
all the other ancillary crap that comes along with going to college.
Exactly, which can balloon that cost.
Yep.
But already you're talking $38,000 a year.
Yep.
Or for a full degree. Now, that's based on a 12-hour course load. I really should have upped it a little, because if you go for 4 years, you really got to take 15, because you want to get 120 is sort of the average for a full degree.
Yeah, we hired a kid who got through Mizzou, University of Missouri, in 2.5, and he's like, I took 18 hours and I took it over the summer, and I'm like, nobody does that. That's dumb, and that's a ton of money per year. But you got out a 1.5 years early, but still. But yeah, you can take 15 to 18 hours some credit a semester hour. Semester.
So if you go 12 a semester or 2 semesters a year, so 24, you're 38, and and if you extrapolate that out to a 4-year degree, that's $190,000.
Sure. What's a state school?
State school. All right. So an in-state. Now there's in-state versus out-of-state.
Just give me in-state.
In-state.
If I go in-state.
Yeah. So plus or minus 5,000.
22.
12,200.
Oh, but that doesn't include room and board.
That does include room and board.
Yes. 22 because you basically double room and board is double whatever is the same as whatever tuition is half the time, it seems like.
I averaged out the room and the board for all 500 something universities that were on.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I went to a website that had the tuition rates.
collegenerd.com.
Yeah. Okay. And that was Andrews College
Nerd.com.
Nerd.com.
Yep.
And I averaged out the room and the board. The room and the board. That board.
You got one board. Lumber's expensive.
Right.
Although
the room's not that bad. It's that damn board.
The board.
So there were some that were fairly excessive, over 20 grand. I don't know what they're getting there, palatial palace or something, but 15 seems to be sort of the average across the board. That's
for just private board.
That's for private schools,
right.
For state schools, that sort of thing. So you can add 15 for a year of room and board.
Yep. So that puts me about right. 12 plus 15.
Yep, that would have been 32. No, 28, 27.
And I said 22.
Because I said 12.2 for a year.
Yeah.
So just tuition is 12,200.
Okay, that's I could buy that.
That's 211% lower than the private school I just mentioned. Because in total, for a degree, it would cost you about 61 grand.
Right.
For a degree. I remember I said 190 grand for a private school.
For a private school. Yeah. So it's substantially lower for a state school.
Substantially. 211% substantially lower.
But that's not including room and board.
But room and board's average, it's the same for all of them. So I honestly think that if you're comparing apples to apples, it's really just the cost of the education.
Yeah. From my perspective, it's 10 to 12 for room and board from the places that we looked for my daughter.
Okay.
And so you're talking somewhere between 22 and 28,000 a year. So you're talking somewhere between 90,000 and 110,000 for a 4-year degree.
Sure, but they usually kids, college students, don't typically do the room and board for all 4 years. That's kind of why I wanted to stray a little bit away from it.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Year 1 and 2, you might do it, but then typically you might move to an apartment.
You're getting out of the food. You're getting out of you're getting an apartment on your own. You've got a job.
Right.
Good. I like that.
So the amount of money that you're shoving into this
makes me feel better about what we've committed to. So
yes.
Good. I love that idea. Go.
Right. Here's a coupon for 2 years off room and board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So now what's the average cost of an in-district 2-year community college?
If you're in the state of Missouri, it's free because you should have gotten good enough grades in.
Let's say you didn't get the A+ program, because that is so. Not even really skipping ahead a little bit, but my daughter is chosen to go for the first 2 years to a community college.
Smart.
Because of the A+ program.
Yep.
It pays 100% of your school tuition.
So I was talking to one of our German listeners today, I kid you not. And she asked about college tuition. And she said, I'm interested in your kids going to college. What are you worried about paying? And I go, well, if your kid wants to go to community college, it's free for 2 years. In Missouri, at least in Missouri, if you get good enough grades for A+, and she goes, "Oh my God, I didn't know that even existed." Because in Europe, a lot of the schools are just, if you go to a state school or a country school, it's free. If you go to a private school, you have to pay. But a lot of their school is free. She goes, "We don't even think about college. We just go, you just go here.
It's university.
At university, we have even. I can't even do a German accent, but yeah, university." And she's like, "It's just free." And I'm like, "Well, we have free school here too. Like A+ does free school, which is smart. So you've got a 2-year free for community college. But your question is, how much does it cost if you didn't get A+?
Yeah. Because let's just say, not all kids are going to get the A+ grades to do it, and they still want to go to college.
Yep. So you go to
they're
community
looking
college.
at private versus in-state.
$6,000.
So per year, $3,700
Oh, so I thought it was going for 2 years. I'm close with $6,000
for 2 years. Yeah. So if you go 2 years,
to
you're
get
looking
associates.
right. You're looking at approximately. So I said 37, round up maybe to 4. You're looking at 8 or a little less.
Okay.
That is another 200%. Greater than 200%. I mean, it's like
Decrease,
240%. If you look at the cost extrapolated down,
Great.
That's lower than the state school, which if you add the two together, which I think you can add percentages, it's almost, I'm going to round again, it's 450% less than a private college.
Okay.
So here is my question.
Okay.
450% less. Now that's the lowest amount. And then you got to go 2, and then you probably transfer to a college. So you're then picking up the rest. So let's say your total cost is still like, what is the difference in education? Why is the cost so much different? I mean, is the amount of education that you're getting? Do you think if you go to a math class, let's say an average algebra class, college algebra level, 100 level, that you go to a community college or you go to an in-state college is going to be that much different than if you went to a private school?
No. So in my humble opinion, there are.
I will only take your humble opinion.
Oh, so I'm going to try to be as humble as I can. I think there are very few private schools that I think. So we all know capitalism is great, right? We all know brands, the price that a brand demands. Coca-Cola or Apple or whoever. Like, I think there are very few private schools that demand a salary based on what the brand is. You came from, a Wash U, you came from Vanderbilt, you came from Notre Dame, you came from Harvard, you came from Yale, you came from wherever. Those things demand a different salary. So when you're negotiating and you go into the real world and you have to get a job, I think you can go, I've got you slam your resume on the table and you go, I've got a pretty kick-ass, resume based on where I've been to school. I've seen things. I've paid for stuff. You should give me more money.
All right. I agree with you. Hold on to your hat.
Am I too hat forward?
So I pulled up again. So I was looking at all of these 500 plus colleges. I sorted them out by like who's the most expensive. I'm just going to give you an example here.
Okay.
So Amherst College, you've heard that?
Nope.
Never heard the word Amherst?
I mean, I've heard Amherst, but I thought it was a pyramid scheme. Is that not a thing?
No. So there's a couple on here. I pulled out like the top 20 highest amount of paid per year, and they start at $80,000 a year. So like places like Bates College, Connecticut College. So Amherst is in there. You start to get down to, if you've heard of Vassar.
I've heard of Vassar.
You heard of Brown. Those are some of the Brown University. That's a Ivy League. I was looking for like Ivy League,
Yale and Harvard, and
and those aren't even in the top. Columbia,
Columbia,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, so let me just throw this out. I just took Amherst as an example, okay, because it was in the like top 10 most pricey schools.
I wouldn't give a crap if you had that on your resume, just for the record.
Right,
Go ahead.
That's my point. That's my thing here, which
You've
is
wasted
crazy.
your money.
So Amherst cost $80,350 per year. That's not including room and board. That is just the cost of your tuition. Okay. So that is how much it costs for your tuition, right? Missouri S&T, Science and Technology,
Rolla,
closer to 30,000, which is what you were predicting, right? That's with some room and board, in-state tuition.
Yep.
Okay. So not only do you get the room and board for that, so it's right at about 30. So let's say 80 versus 30. That's a $50,000 a year difference over 4 years. You do the math.
Right. But what are you trying to get into? Because so if what's Amherst graduation rate into what degrees?
You ready?
Yep. Go ahead. Oh,
I didn't get their graduation.
Oh,
I got their median salary for early career and middle career.
Great.
Average salary, early career, $68,000 a year.
Oh, you're getting crushed.
Late career, mid career. So like, I mean, late, that's like later. But
late 30s, early 40s.
So your mid 30s, early 40s, you're looking at $133 a year. That is the average median salary that those people from Amherst that graduated are making.
Do not go to Amherst. And they don't sponsor us, and they shouldn't.
But this is just an example of these high price schools.
You're not getting anything.
In Missouri S&T, which I just said costs $200,000 less at the end of the road.
Yep.
Probably more
So 30
with
grand
books
a,
and all
30
that
grand a year.
craziness. Their early career, 72 grand.
Yep.
That's 4 more
What's
than
their-
Amherst.
Yep. What's
and
their-
125, which is 8 grand less a year for mid career. That's average.
So save your money, go get a degree at a reputable but not ridiculous college of some sort, because based on my experience, you're going to need to get a college degree to get your foot into the doors of some things that you're going to want in your career. But oh my God, there are a lot of colleges out there that you should not spend the money on.
Right.
Like I've never even heard of Amherst, and that's a waste of money.
Yeah,
Like,
and there's
legitimately
plenty
waste of money.
There's plenty of other examples because I could go on. I mean, but we would have a 4-hour podcast.
If you're telling me
on this.
Yale and Harvard didn't make the top 20,
Harvard was
Or
not
10?
No, they're not even on here. They probably were just under it because I was looking for Harvard. Harvard seems to be that everyone looks at Harvard, right? Harvard's
if you're not going to MIT, Harvard, and Yale, like
right. What are you spending that much money for?
why are you spending any money? Or Columbia, Columbia College it's up there too, right?
Yeah, Brown is too. I mean, these are.
But for the love of God, no one's heard of Amherst.
No, a lot of people have. They're going to be listening to this and you're like,
If you've heard of Amherst and you're like, you should get more money, you're ignorant. That's ridiculous.
But I love the fact that you look at resumes, you have done hiring decisions, you've done interviews, and if you would have seen Amherst,
I would have
you
cared
would have
less.
disregarded it as anything that would have made them twice as valuable because it cost them way more than twice.
It cost them 400 times the amount, and yet they are zero value to
Right.
me. Yeah, agree.
So that's the return on investment, I think, and that's kind of what I think we all know college has gone crazy. One of the astounding facts here that I saw over the past 2 decades, since 2000, college tuition has increased in price more than any other good or service besides hospital care, and that's saying something. The causes, we could talk about that all day too.
Sports.
Sports. I originally thought, if you go to Alabama, I mean, how much have you seen their facilities? Every once in a while you'll see like a YouTube video or something where it's like, here's the football program at
$8
Alabama,
billion
right?
stadium or whatever nonsense they got.
How much is Saban making,
Yeah.
to take them to the championship every year? That's all intuition, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not playing
Taxpayers
football,
aren't paying for that. Tuition is paying.
why
for
are
that.
you going to that school if you're not playing football?
Yeah.
You're just a watch. That is an expensive viewing party. They have administrative bloat. Oh, here's the big thing. The amenities of college. I think so many colleges are vying for your money that they have to put in every possible amenity and make it so plush. Even when we went to college where we went, because we went to the same college for a while, our dorm rooms, there were areas of the dorm rooms that were twice as good, and you paid way more money for the plush rooms that had their own bathroom and had carpeting and ours, you shared a bathroom with the entire floor. We didn't have carpeting. It was whatever you brought.
It was a jail cell.
Yes. Go ahead.
And my kid's going to go to we went and walked through a small school, a medium school, and a large school.
Okay.
And I watched her face light up at a large school where she chose to go. And she's like, I can see myself here, but it's because she wants to be involved in activities. And we went to a small school. She's like, there's nothing going on here. This town rolls its sidewalks up at 9:00. Like, that's not who she is.
All right.
And so some of those amenities, 100% agree with you. So they're like, we have basically a water park, indoor water park you can have access to anytime you want. There's a 3-story a rock climbing wall. Go climb rocks. We don't give a crap. Anytime you want.
All right.
Weight room and all that stuff. And she's like, I'm in.
Okay.
I want to go do stuff with my friends. I want to be independent and go experience things. And she's like, I need stuff to do that with. And there's certain colleges that have it. There's certain colleges that are like,
oh yeah,
we hope you make friends and have maybe a
There's a cafe.
a Domino's club in our Chick-fil-A in the restaurant.
Right.
You're like, she's like, I'm not into Domino's.
Okay. So for you and for probably other people out there, if you're thinking about tuition, it's okay if the tuition is a little bit higher if you have, because it's essentially you're paying additional money for the experience.
I'm buying education and experience together.
Okay.
And I want that for her. I want that for, like for all kids is go have an experience and get an education at the same. Both are important, but I think equally important, not just go to a college that you hate, but go get a good education. And the experience sucks. Don't do that. Go find a college that you can interact with people and you can do stuff that's different than your house. And, I think that's important.
Okay. And I think at the end of the day, if we're talking about return on investment, they do like in terms of what you're getting. What I saw a good statistic was over a lifetime, individuals with bachelor's degree, obviously there's a higher education where you can get a master's and doctorate, but if you just get a bachelor's degree, on average, you're going to make 84% more than those with only a high school diploma. So if you're doing something beyond college, you're probably making yourself more valuable to employers that will then equate to some higher standard of living or higher pay rate. So there is definitely a return on investment for any college. I would just say, wow, there's a huge discrepancy out there in terms of colleging. So,
you can go spend
buyer beware.
Yeah. $500,000 on college. You can go spend $100,000 on college and you could potentially get the same benefit from it.
Oh, you will 100% probably get the same benefit of it. I feel like I could talk about this for a long time and I'm not going to, but I really think, if I took your average professor out of Amherst or Harvard or Columbia and I put him up against your average professor from a state school, there's just not going to be the level of difference that there is in the tuition rate. Agreed. You're all going to be teaching.
You can't be 400% better at algebra than this guy is.
Right. And maybe it's the 300 and 400 level classes where you should really start to get into the minutia of your major. And I get that, but it's still the amount of money that you're paying. Just really look at what that is in terms of a return on your investment, because you will be paying those student loans off if you do not have grants or scholarships.
Yep.
And you're putting that all on your credit cards and your loans. You're going to be paying that off for a long time. With that, you do have a higher salary, but you're also paying more in student loans. So what does that look like at the end of the day? I think I've beat that one up on its head. So we're gonna go to the beer. We're gonna rate it, but we are gonna stick on the same thing. We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk a little bit about some alternatives to college. We're also gonna talk about a few of our college personal stories when we went to college and what crazy lives we led while we were there.
So let's talk about Longboat.
Longboat.
Just for the record, I did look it up as we were talking. Do you know what Longboat was? It's a Norm Stewart beer.
Oh, hey.
So
that one's come up in conversation a few times.
Oh, man. I'm so sorry I didn't realize that to begin with. But yes, so Longboat
Look at me kind of here in Longboat.
Like,
and
you're like,
really
I think we've done this. And we have. We've done it in the last 10 episodes.
That was super early on. That was like episode number 4.
Yeah. I was so wrong. Oh, I don't know. That's probably 5 episodes or 10 episodes ago, but it's not been that long. And it was the Norm Stewart. What was it called? I don't even remember. Anyway, I looked it up, but it was the Stewart beer. So it's out of Columbia, Missouri. So
excellent.
So what did you think about Longboat? You want me to go first because I brought it?
Yeah.
Is that how this works?
Sure.
All right, great. I like it. But it is, to me, extremely easy to drink beer. And I love that it has a bobber and a guy fishing on it, which makes me love it more.
Nice, yes.
It is.
Puts you in a happy place.
It does. And I think it's, so for me, it's a 4. It's something when I see it, I'm going to keep it in my cooler. Love it. I love the thought process behind making me think about fishing at the same time I'm drinking, which I love. The combination of drinking.
But even so the taste is
taste is great.
Okay.
It's just a lager. It's a pretty easy to drink lager.
Yeah.
You go.
Yeah, I would say the same. I don't know how else to add to that. It's a fairly basic American lager, not real heavy, not a ton of flavor, but that also comes with some benefits in that you don't feel silly full
right
when you're drinking it. So very well made. middle of the road lager.
Yep.
I would give it a 3 for that very reason. I don't fish. The only times I've gone fishing is just so that I can socialize on the bank. I have zero feeling that we'll catch anything, and that's fine with me. If we catch something, great. If we don't, par for the course. Because I can't see in there. I don't know if they're... My biggest deal with fishing is that is when you throw a line in that water, there could be 0 fish in there. And I'm pretty sure I've fished in a couple places because friends like to take... They're like, hey, let's come out fishing.
Yeah.
Let's go to this piece of water over here, and I can tell you with uncertainty that there are fish in here. There could be 0.
Right.
And to me, that is the ultimate, like, I don't know why we're doing this.
And so up until recently, I could not disagree with you more. I'm like, it's a lake. There's fish everywhere. There really isn't. I get that.
Right.
But I always think there is. But then when we went to the Bahamas and we got into a place where we were in like 4,000 foot of water, I'm like, there could be 0 fish for 4,000 feet down.
But to be fair, I'm not talking about that kind of fishing. I'm talking about where you've taken me fishing and we're like, here's a random lake. Let's throw some line in there. And I'm like, okay.
I feel like I
didn't catch anything. And I go, that could be 100% of what's in this lake.
Right. We caught everything here. I've rarely felt like there's nothing around to fish for until I got into the Bahamas. And I'm like, we're in a lot of water. And I'm like, there could be nothing around for a mile, literally a mile down or a mile out. I have no idea. Like, we could be the only people out here or the only living animal out here.
And a lot of people that fish, they'll have those little nifty sonars or something that is showing them on the screen. Oh, there's fish under
cheaters.
you.
We call them cheaters.
Well, that would probably make it a little bit more enticing to go. At least I know there's fish down there.
That would make it efficient for you. I agree. But that's not how all fishing works. But okay, so talk to me about stories.
So we both went to the same college.
Yep.
We didn't know each other going to college. We met later in our college career. And when actually at work, when we both took a job while we were down at college. But I just kind of want to throw it out there and go, hey, we got our kids going to college, probably for different reasons than we went to college. When I went down to college, my highest priority was having fun. Like, fun was number 1, 2 was probably surviving, and then 3 was not education still. It was making friends. I don't know. Education for me was probably 4 or 5. I wanted to get the classes and just do enough to continue going there. But for me, it was totally the experience of being away from my house, being independent. And so I have a few fun. I'm like, here, throw out one of your stories of this was something I didn't expect to happen necessarily, or maybe I thought of something in college, like I watched Animal House and I thought this could happen, and then it came true. Something like that.
So I think, so for me, I'm going to give you an educational experience because I think my priority list was very similar to yours. College, like learning in college, ranked very low. Like, legitimately may not have made the top 8 things that I wanted to do in college. So when I talked to my kid about it, I'm like, there's certain things I want you to go to college to learn, and there's certain things I want you to go to college to experience. I had a lot of cool experiences, and I think for me, is the unexpected part was I met a lot of people from a lot of different countries and a lot of different cities that I didn't see when I was in a small town. That was super helpful for me to just get a well-rounded view of what the world looks like outside of the small town I grew up in. That was the unexpected part. One of the unexpected parts. The other unexpected part is I really found only 2 classes in 3 or 4 years that I went to college, economics and psychology. Those 2 classes I got into. I loved. Nice. And I told my kids from the very beginning, I need you to take an economics class, economics 101, micro and macroeconomics. Take both those 2, and take psychology and sociology. You have to take both those. You have to know how the economy works. You have to know how people work. As long as you know, and those 2 things got me jazzed up. Those are the only 2 classes I can even remember taking. I mean, I took a lot of classes. Right. Those are the only 2 I remember, and I loved those 2 classes. Those technically 4 classes, 1 year, whatever. But those were great classes, and they made an impact on me, and I got passionate about those. find something you get passionate about and go do that. I wish I would have been more serious about every other class I took because I don't even remember what I took. But I think the experiences of meeting people from different cultures, different countries, different backgrounds, different, like knowing that I came from a pretty average family that had, although I was adopted, but I still had two married parents. I met a lot of people who were from divorced families or all different weird stuff.
Culture
scenarios.
shock.
I was like enthralled with all the
yeah.
different variations of people that you find in college. That experience I want for my kids. Everybody should have that. You
Yes.
should go experience things that are different than you. People
Right.
from
The
other
world
countries.
is so much bigger than my high school.
Yeah. So that was it to me, is that getting out of this small little capsule and getting into this bigger world and having some exposure to that was super cool to me, and finding classes that I was passionate about. It took me a while to find them.
Nice.
But the ones that I found that I was passionate about, and I don't know what that is for everybody, but for me, it was finding out how the economy worked and finding out how people's mind works, like your brain works, was super fascinating to me. And I got into those two classes. Those everything else was crap. I hated everything. Math classes, English classes, everything else I hated. Those two genres I was into. So it told me what I was passionate about. I found my niche.
Sure. And that's awesome. That's way less Animal House than I was going in my story.
Oh, damn.
Now, let me
All right,
preface
give
this.
me your story.
Again, let me preface this. I've said when I originally went to school that my priorities were well out of whack in terms of education. That said, after a couple of years, I got a full-time job because I had to support myself. Went transferred up into a different college, ended up graduating with a couple of degrees with a damn near 4.0, like a high GPA. I was getting a lot of A's because I really did focus on the education aspect. But early in my education career was very low on the list. So something that I can share with the audience, because there were many a story I probably can't, but I will say that this was a college memory that lived up to probably the expectation.
I'm going to interrupt you first and just say, I know you're going to tell a story, and I can't wait for it. But there is, if you're wondering where people are on this, on the kind of where Andrew and I are on the scheme of things, is Andrew and I had the very, very similar early college experience.
Right.
Andrew went back and got a really good degree and did really well in college. Stephen did not. So you're talking to a person like this. Podcast is an interesting, I don't know, weird science experiment.
Dynamic.
Yeah, it is. It's weird. Of a guy who's got a really good degree, and has spent, went back and said, there's value in this degree, and I got it from a really good school, and I did really well, and like, super proud of you for doing, like, that was a big deal when you went back and got your degree. It was cool, and I was super proud of you for doing that. So 100% accolades for all of that. That was dope. I've tried to do it twice and failed miserably, because school was not my thing, and it just time.
And you already had a family going.
Well, and
So, which just makes it a lot.
Like, it just didn't fit into my balance,
Right,
and
right.
I didn't make it a priority like you did. You're like, I've got to get this, and you like committed to it. My wife did the same thing. She went back and she goes, I got to get an associate's degree, and I'm like, why? And she's like, it's something I need to do. I'm like, great, go do it. She did. I like super admire that whole thing. So kudos to you. Sorry, I thought I'd interrupt your story, but
I appreciate that.
I still don't have a degree at 46. You do, and you have a really good degree. And you got straight A's. It like ridiculously crushed a degree later in life, and it's hard to do. So keep going.
Yeah.
Story time.
Yeah. So, which is funny because, for all that good news in the early years, it was
Not good news.
Not good news. And I hung around with a group of a bunch of people that were of sort of like mind, right? It was the, we're going to find times to party. We're going to drink when we can. We're going to find ways to have a good time. And we were less than 21 at the time, because when you go away to college, you're 18, or somewhat typically is 18. I was. So we couldn't really get into the bars where we were at. So I did not spearhead this because there were a fairly large group of these kids, and I just didn't have that much drive to spearhead something like this. But I can say I was somewhat involved in that. What they ended up doing was renting out this really old place that used to be a strip club on the other side of the river. So we left the state, went to the other side of the river where it was much less populated, and a desolate building that I guess the guy that owned it was like, I got nothing else going here, so I'll rent this out to you once or twice a week. bring your own kegs, and charge $5 at the door for all you can drink beer, which is about the most illegal thing you could do because we had absolutely no liquor license.
No, yeah. So
it was just a party where you charge $5 at the door, all you can drink beer.
Yep.
But at this establishment, so we had it had a dance floor, right? And some poles where the strippers used to apparently dance and whatnot.
Jiminy Christmas.
And so we had the whole run of the place, which was great because it's indoors, didn't matter, if for weather conditions and whatnot. So yeah, it was like every Friday night. It was called, I believe, the Dugout. And we would go over there, and I will say in the end, it lasted a total of about 4 months because with every good idea comes things that happen. So what had happened was
yep.
that this great $5 all you can drink, which is way more than the bars were charging in town, started to spread a little bit to the factions of people that we really didn't hang out with. I would call it the bro culture. Not all fraternities are bad, but sort of those fraternities that were way more into aggressive partying.
Yeah, competitive partying.
Competitive partying would be a great way to put it. So all of a sudden, we were just we were low key, hey, we're just hanging out, sitting on some, a couch, some old couches that probably you wouldn't sit on today, right? Because they're in an old musty building, and just drinking all the beer you could drink, walking around and having a good time with some low key music. And all of a sudden, this thing, because these people were infiltrating, going, man, I can get cheap beer and have this place to go. And it got ruckus, right? Where for a number of months we had zero fights, people having problems
Angry
with each
rave.
other, and then all of a sudden this aggressive partying style, man, it just lit up us on a radar where the local authorities were all over it. So they shut that pretty much down. Where it was they were sitting out in the parking lot going, "You're not coming in here tonight." So, man, all good things have to come to an end, unfortunately, but never thought that would actually happen, right?
As a parent, I feel like that was never a good thing, and then it came to an end.
Right.
But as a person who went to the same school as you, I go, yeah, that was a good thing for a while. There's a lot of.
Oh man, so that was my, again, I have a number of stories if I ever come out with some more, but that one, I just thought it was so much fun for a while. It was fun while it lasted, and it was all student driven, but for the completely wrong reasons. It was just for us
an entrepreneurship of students.
It paid for our beer, right? Because all of the money at the door really just went to buy the amount of beer for the next time.
Okay, so now I feel bad that I told a story about education and what
don't feel bad.
So hold on. I'm going to give you the quickest story ever. So I went to a very private school for tennis. I told you that. One of the things they did was they recruit people from out overseas. So they got a couple guys to play that were rugby players from Australia to play football for us. They had no idea what football rules were, but we hired them. We brought them in on full ride scholarships to play football for us. Our football team is horrible for a tiny private school.
Okay.
Right? Those guys from Australia could drink. I can't even tell you. Right. I've not seen anybody else. I've seen a lot of people drink hard. These guys drank hard. I mean, legitimately worse than So they started hosting parties, and we would go out to the place and have parties and drink with them, and they would just drink people under the table, and they would buy kegs and just be like, "Ugh," you just they're drinking.
Oi.
Yeah, and it was insane. And everybody would try to keep up until you couldn't, and it was bad. I literally my worst driving story ever is I left a party with the Australian guys.
Oh my!
I drove. Got in a car.
Should not have.
And 100% because it was a T-Bird and it had some power to it.
Ooh.
And we were going to another party because that's exactly what I needed to do after that party.
Right.
So
good decisions make for additional good decisions.
Yeah. Country party with the Australians. I had to drive 4 blocks and turn one right turn and to get to the next place to party. And I peeled out in the square. It's a small town, right? The town has 1,300 people in it. So the police don't have a whole lot to patrol.
Right.
The guy watched me basically drift around a corner off of a stop sign and pull into a parking space where the next party was. And in my brilliant self, I threw a penny in my mouth. He's like, "Hey," He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, accidentally got too much power in my car. He's like, yeah, I don't think that's the case. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it is.
Right.
And he goes,
Why are you sucking on that penny?
I'm going to give you a pass here, and I'm going to give you a careless and imprudent driving ticket. And I go, that sucks, but okay, it's better than a DUI.
Right.
The guy was wasted drunk. There's no way I should have been on the road.
Right.
So the next day I wake up, I got a careless and imprudent driving ticket in my hand. I go, I need to go home and tell my mom and dad I cannot pay for this ticket. It's a couple $100.
I need your help.
And so on my way home, it's starting to rain, and I've got to get there and get back before a certain time on Sunday so that I can party again. And I pass some people up a hill, and as I'm passing them, the passing lane changes, right? So it goes from dotted line to not dotted line anymore.
Solid.
The last guy in the line was a cop. I pass him, and I'm just past the passing zone part, and I'm jamming home because to tell him I've got this ticket I need it. He pulls me over and he's like, dude, you just passed a cop in the rain up a hill in a no passing zone. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm trying to get home to tell my parents that I've gotten a ticket that I can't pay for. And he's like, you got it yourself another ticket. I actually got two. I got a speeding ticket and a passing and no passing zone ticket on the way home to tell my parents that I got a careless and imprudent driving ticket that I can't pay for. That was my best college. I got a three-fer. In 24 hours. My parents are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I have $1,000 worth of tickets in 24 hours.
I'm just
I can't
gonna
pay
need
for
some help with these tickets.
Yeah.
Did they take your license on one of those?
They've taken it twice.
Not to take like you can't drive, but they back in the day, and I don't know if they still do this, but they would take your license as sort of collateral.
No, they didn't do that yet. No.
So they didn't take your physical license and then say you can use this ticket. Okay, because that was in high school. That was the kick in the pants, or high school, college.
When they take your license,
they would take your license
anymore?
and they would give you the ticket and say drive on this, and then once you pay the ticket, you'll get your physical license back. And then if you got another ticket, you would have to show the cop, here's a ticket I got. So yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, and yes, we are talking quite a long time. We were going to talk a little bit about trade schools, and I'm not going to get into it as much as I was going to, but I did want to just throw this out here that, we talked a lot about college, but trade schools kind of fly under the radar. Steve and I have always talked, with each other and with our families and stuff. And we're like, you know what? Trade schools are, or you might know them as vocational schools, technical colleges. They are legitimate options, right? And like I talk to my kids about them. It's amazing. I have way too much here, not way too much, but I have at least another 15 minutes. I'm not going to get into it because we're already at an hour. But the amount of the educational cost, I mean, you can usually go for 2 years. And if you remember some of the costs I was talking about earlier, you can go for like $30,000 for 2 years, get one of those degrees, which means you're making salary for the 2 years or the 4 years that somebody else is going to college. And I can just throw out a couple of things here that people make in terms of, if you go to a vocational college, you can make, if you're an electrician, you can start out making $60 a year. If you're a home inspector, $60 a year. If you're a dental hygienist, $76 a year. Elevator mechanic, this was my favorite. If you're just working on elevators, you can make $84 a year. Start like that. Well, this is the median salary for them. Construction managers, $95. Air traffic controllers, $122. I mean, these are things you can do if you think, hey, I don't have to go to college. There are alternatives, and we need them. There are things that sometimes cannot be outsourced. I'll just say that, right? Like, especially if you have air conditioner, heating and cooling, those things, man, those people, plumbers, man, they make bank.
Some of my
a lot of hands-on.
Yeah, some of my favorite things are I adopted. My biological brothers all are extremely trade-oriented.
That's awesome.
The iron workers, they can build anything, and they make good livings.
Mm-hmm.
And they've sent their kids to school for trade schools, and their kids are already out making money,
right? And
making good money, like really decent money. And they're happy in life, and they're not burdened with debt.
Right.
And it's ridiculous. Like, they build their own houses.
It's crazy. It's awesome.
When you're like, oh, I want to work a desk job. Shut up. Go learn something. How to do electricity work. How to do welding. You can build stuff. You can create, and then that doesn't cost you as much later when you want to do your own electricity. When you want to do your own plumbing. When you want to do your own carpentry.
Yeah.
When you want to weld something, like, you can build the things that you would normally have to buy
and pay someone else.
Ridiculously helpful.
Yeah.
And like later on in life, like I cannot express enough. I wish people would push trade schools way more than they do. 4-year colleges, I get why you need them. I get there's a need for them, but I also don't think everybody's path.
But I think that's the marketing piece of it, of the colleges. It's like there's just so much push of you have to go to college, you have to go to a 4-year college, you have to do this, and and you always see the commercials for some of the vocational places, and it flies under the radar, but they really are great jobs. They are super accessible in terms of how much they place people into. Like they just have a ridiculous placement into jobs where it's not like you're searching.
And your cost to entry is so low.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. Like I could get a $30,000 education to make myself $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 starting.
Right.
Versus $100,000 to $200,000 to $300,000 worth of education to get myself $60,000 to $70,000 starting.
And you might struggle starting with a college degree because they don't necessarily have that placement.
Yeah.
Where some of those tech schools,
people are dying for welders. People are dying for carpenters. Like they cannot find enough plumbers and electricians and HVACs and truck drivers and all that kind of stuff. There are legitimately crazy jobs that are paying good money that you can go get 6 months of education, 12 months of education, 15 months of education, and go find yourself a $60,000 or $70,000 job, and no one promotes it. Sorry.
Amen, brother.
That was
And I learned something today.
I agree. And that's why I said I wanted to bring it up. I had it on here.
As you should.
I definitely wanted to hit that as a topic area. And I'm glad that we were able to sneak it in under the radar. It sounded like we probably rushed through it a little bit because we know we're up against the clock and, we're done with our bobber. And, and it's been fantastic.
I got buddies out there who are like, I want to do more drink alongs. So I'm going to shout out Grant, who's drinking along with every episode we do.
Thank you, Grant.
I hope you guys enjoy the Longboat Bobber. I hope you can find it before. I will do a drink along for this episode. So I hope you found it and are drinking along with us. And if you are, post us a picture on our socials or on your socials and tag us in it. Let us know how you like it. We've rated it a 3 and a 4. So give us a shout out and let us know what you think about it. We'd love to hear it.
Yes, and a personal thank you and shout out to Grant because I believe he's the one that pointed out my catastrophe on the YouTube episode a couple episodes back. I put the wrong audio with the wrong episode, and then there was a very nice comment was, I think you have the wrong audio. And I'm like, yeah, that's 100% true.
So if anybody wants to watch us on YouTube or just listen to the audio, listen to the podcast on YouTube, you can, and you might actually get a sneak peek of the audio, the audio for the track that's coming up or the podcast that's coming up next. Because that's what Grant got.
It might not match exactly, but
that's fine.
I appreciate you, Grant. Thank you so much. So thanks to the good people at Logboat Brewing. This bobber was good.
Yeah.
Thanks to my good friend here who helped me with all of this college information. That's you.
Perfect. Thanks, you.
Thanks, you. Your next class is starting. It's across campus. You're going to need to book it, my friend, and hope the professor's a no-show.